Hello everyone, I'm Smarak. You are listening to Pudubai Vani 107.8 FM community radio station. Today we are going to discuss about International Youth Day. Yes, you heard it right. It's the youth that's the center point of discussion. Today in our discussion, we have Dr. Shahin Sultana, Associate Professor, Department of Social Work, Pondicherry University. We have Dr. Jitendra Mohan Mishra, Assistant Professor, Department of Tourism Studies. We have PhD scholar Deepak Singh from School of Education. And we have Sunaina Agarwal, who is pursuing her Mass Communication from Department of Electronic Media and Mass Communication, Pondicherry University. Before we start the discussion about International Youth Day, I would like to give an information to our listeners. What is International Youth Day? International Youth Day was established by the United Nations in 2000 as a means of raising awareness of issues affecting young people around the world. It's an initiative that aims to promote the well-being and livelihood of young people. Its 15 priority areas include education, employment, poverty and hunger, the environment, drug abuse, juvenile delinquency, leisure time activities, health, girls and young women, HIV/AIDS, information and communication technology, intergenerational issues, armed conflict, the mixed impact of globalization, and the full and effective participation of youth in society and decision making. We all know that half of the world population is 3 billion, if we consider it, is under the age of 25. So when you look at the 3 billion people, we are looking at 3 billion opportunities. The point is that there is some kind of gap, miscommunication between the youth and the society. So like why we can't accept no? Because everything we are seeing, every youth wants to have a yes in everything because they have desire, they have hope, they have high aspirational values. They don't want to hear a no or something like that. I would like to know what's wrong with the youth today, Dr. Sultana.
A very good evening to one and all of you. Thank you, Smarak, for this challenging question which you've asked now. As a teacher or rather you call me a social work educator who does theory as well as practice at the field level, I would definitely, present the realities of the youth in today's community, both the local, the regional, the national as well as the international community. See, what we come across in today's context is that there is no clear description of the category. Now, whom do we call youth? The question starts from there. Do we call a person an adolescent of both genders right from 18 years, or do you call them from 19 years? Because every community, every institution, every country has his or her own definition. So even if you take in the context as far as our country is concerned, we say 18 to 35. But then we don't know whether we want to lower it down, because if you had seen the recent Delhi case, even there was a huge debate on the age for the juvenile. So challenges are coming up, social issues are rising up, and the whole issue of this age category of youth itself is not sorted out. Only when we come out of these confusions can we think about a policy for them, then consider, okay, this is the number of, this is the strength of the youth in this respective country or in the community, and then you design or you chalk out programs and policies accordingly. So the basic problem is we've not defined the category of the youth. Second, what about the policies for them? Are we speaking, we have health policy, we have education policy, we have national policy for children, but do we have a youth policy? If so, how many states have? So these are the questions first we need to begin with.
Deepak, do you think like there is a deterioration in education in all?
Thank you so much, Smarak, for giving this opportunity. As you have told that, especially in India, the youth are facing so many problems, especially unemployment and poverty, moral degradation, lack of skill development. And for all these things, education is responsible somewhere. And I strongly feel that in a country where more than 65% of Indian population is below the age of 35, in a country like this, the government should make a policy, especially in the field of education, where from the primary level itself, the emphasis should be given on the skill development of the students, and secondly, the moral education must be given. And thirdly, the job seeking attitude in the youth must be converted into the job generating attitude, and that kind of social environment must be created in the society to solve the problems of the youth. And the basic is the root for all these problems is education. So we must reshape or redefine the education.
Dr. Mishra, he talked about primary education and giving a makeover for value education and making an employability as a choice. When people say we have employment, with the question is employability. What do you think about what's wrong with the professional education? Why are not able to generate employment, and why are not finding people who are right at the right position?
This is very pertinent question. Why the present youth, despite of having a professional degree, are not employable? Being in the professional program, we consider people who come for professional programs and take admission to these courses, they definitely have an intention to pursue their career in this line. But what basically lacks in them is self-motivation, the attitude of get going, the attitude of learning at every stage, the basic fundamental communication problem, then the problem of time management, the problem of getting the right emotional attitude to any work or workspace. So such are the problems that hinder their employability skill. What we can do in this university level education, probably we can address to such issues in person with the students, because we are all aware that the present day youth is equipped with so many things which our earlier generations were seriously lacking. Earlier generation were not having an access to internet and access to informations the way that present day youth is blessed with. Earlier generation were not that open to higher educations which present day generation is blessed with. So many advantages are there with the present day youth. Still they are not yet to captivate. They do not take that into their benefit and start working upon them. Opportunities, I would not agree if someone say that opportunities are less. Opportunities are in abundance. Still, the youth is yet to take up the right choice when it comes to their jobs and find out the right place to work. So they have to be decisive right from the beginning while they make their career choice. Having so many other diversions, they should definitely look for something which they are really interested in. They should not go by the words of their parental pressures, their peer pressures. They must go for what exactly they want, what is their real interest in a particular job. If they do that, probably their interest should be the job which they are doing. With that, they probably can excel in their career.
So Sunaina, do you think like there is employment opportunities are there? What matters is how you can be an employable. You find yourself employable. Whatever education you are getting currently is like more of theory based or practical oriented. And how far it will help you if you go to the practical exercise and meet the industry need.
I agree to it. I believe that education system needs a little bit of change. What we all are taught in class is not what is implemented in the real industry. I think last month I completed my internship. We all taught about various theories and mugging up things and getting this much cut off. Everybody runs after marks. Coming from mass comm field, when I went down for my internship, I don't think even my editor was interested to know how much I score per semester or how much I've scored in my 12 for my graduation. All he wanted to know is what skills I have in writing. So nobody talks about giving skills to youth. Nobody asks what they want. It is just that the syllabus is prepared. If it's a theory class, you have to sit. If it's a 70% cutoff, you have to get it. But nobody is telling you that, no, okay, you have to write like this, or this kind of practical assignments should be given. So I think, yes, we are lacking somewhere because of skills.
We have idealism. People say that young people have much more idealism than the older people, so they can run the country much faster way or better way. But the question is, the youth have different views and they have different ideas. You cannot lump them together. Every youth has its own needs and its own priorities. So what I'm saying, is there any kind of idealism that is lacking? If it is there, then why it is not working on connecting the youth to the society? And if there is no idealism, then where are the idealism and from where they will get the idealism?
You would not agree if you say the present day youth doesn't have the ideology. They may not be something what earlier generation was. There is a growing individualism amongst the youth. What I feel is they are ideal, but not the conventional way how their elders, how their seniors were thinking. They are ideal, they pursue their career, they think about the nation, but more than a nation, they believe in their individualism. If that is respected, then half of the problem is solved.
But the idealism rests with the celebrity-based three characters, and rather than not on the national fighters, freedom fighters, from where we got our idealism and all these things.
I would not still agree to that. Well, present-day youth are definitely, say, influenced by what the elites or what the film stars, what the cricketers do, how do they live. Well, fine, that is a section of the society. But in mass, if you say, people are very practical compared to the earlier generation. They just don't go by the religious dogmas, the fundamentalism, the conservative kind of thoughts. So you have an open mind amongst the youth as you compared with your earlier generations. I would rather go for these individualistic thoughts than having a religious ideology, fundamental thought or conservative attitude anymore. So I would go by what present day youth thinks and the way they want to live a society. It is definitely they who would drive the society to the future. And I don't find such things wrong with their ideology.
So you saying popular culture is the medium where youth can express themselves?
Well, they find the way for themselves by expressing their views in social medias, in expressing their views in public, going all the way to demand certain things which they want for their lives and for their future. They may cite example which probably is convenient to them, but yes, they have a different way. They have their own individual, unique, distinct way from others.
Dr. Sultana, now there is a point. What is convenient and what is right? No one is talking about what is wrong, because no one want to accept what is wrong. So my question is like, do you think like popular culture is kind of invading the youth and teleporting them to something else which is not ours and which is grossly affecting the ethos?
See, there are 2 points before I just get into this one. One, what Sunaina said, about the enhancement of the skills. She had a very good point to make there. Today's system only talks about, the percentage. She said, okay, we agree. But, if a student has to have the intake, then at least we expect a student has to sit 70% of the theory class to understand what we are communicating. So that is one. We understand that period it is too difficult for him to understand that 70% is mandatory. But the university makes it, a rule that at least 70%, which includes your medical leave, the other 30% takes care of everything. Your medical leave, your emergency, your personnel, your sick leave and everything. Only then at least the minimum of the content you can take. Now, I think as far as mass communication department, even social work is a professional course, I could say with confidence that if the student goes to the field and if he does not carry the theory which is being taught in the class, now there is always a question whether what I'm teaching goes to him, whether what I'm teaching is relevant or irrelevant. That is a different debate. But at least if he has to go and practice the profession for where he's going to use the skills and the techniques, the lecture is very, very important. Now still we have not gone to a system where we can say, okay, you can open the book and write. How many universities would permit them, even if we accept that that's the best standard? Now, the question comes, suddenly at the age of 30, you want them to be independent, you want them to be open for everything. The system actually is wrong right from the beginning. Now, if you take the school system, every teacher goes into the class, she says, A, batao A, sollunga A, B. So, there is always an instruction. There is no participation. And suddenly at the age of 25 to 30, you want participation. And that time he doesn't like instruction. Now he is used to instructions and it becomes very difficult for taking participation. Participation, when he is entering into that, only then skill development, skill enhancement, skill utilization will happen. And there our youth, because right from the beginning they have this structure of taking information, suddenly you want them to develop skills, suddenly you want them to enhance skills, suddenly you want them to identify their choices, they are too immature.
Deepak, being from education department, how do you see primary education in this regard?
Yeah, well, I feel that the skill development should be from the primary level itself. It should not be like all of a sudden you are giving in the curriculum skill development program. So if you give that skill development program from the primary level itself, because at that time the student have absorption capacity and molding capacity is very high. They can learn very easily the things. but as they grow older and older, it's difficult to learn new things. So I strongly feel that the skill development should be included in the curriculum from the primary level itself.
And do you think it will be sustained? It can be sustainable?
Yeah, definitely it should be sustainable, and it should be continued from primary level to even higher level of education.
There is another problem, which is like youth faces a lot of sustainability issues, like the great urge to be perfect, accomplishing character despite the limitation which are often ignored by the society and also the family. This creates a pressure. Sustainability is mostly affected by the pressure that is being built. So do you agree with that?
See, today, if you see the market, whether it is marriage market, it's a job market, or whatever market you talk to, everyone has to have a saleable price. Okay, so I go into the marriage market if I have a job, if I have a degree. My market goes up if I have a post-graduation. My market goes up if I am a PhD. Your market is differ if you are in a private firm and if you are in a government position. Everything is saleable. So, for a youth, he has a lot of challenges at every phase of life. Now, what happens is, you see who's an ideal youth. Now, one who's successful. Sachin Tendulkar is successful because he could become successful at the age of 20. Now, our system of education says that you can complete your post-graduation only by 22. How many of them can take a risk to become, superstar like him? Or the southern superstar like Surya or Vijay, who after a degree have just become, successful. So, taking a role model and moving ahead, there are constraints, there are limitations. But we have to see also the realities of the system. You enter your graduation at the age of 18, your post-graduation at the year 22, you have to have at least 2 years of experience or so, then you go ahead. So, this youth period from 18 to 35 is a whole lot of challenges. At this time, I would like to especially mention, see, what is lacking in today's system is the helping hand, whether it is a family, the helping hand, whether it is the institution, educational institution, or it's the society. Whom will he talk to? Now, I being a social worker and as also a counselor, I have been the student advisor both in Delhi University. Here also I have been the faculty coordinator. What I see is youth actually are undergoing a lot of confusions. They do not know whom to talk to. They have a teacher, but the teacher is always busy. As Sunaina said, I have to see that I take 65 hours as per the UGC rule. So my full focus is on that. My concern is I have to finish the 5 units of class. I have to see many of them do not fail there. I have to see that his attendance has to be put on time. Now, so many conditions I myself have as a teacher. Now, apart from this, I have to check my assignments, I have to put the internal assessment, all these etc. work. And then you expect me that I give time to my student to ask, what is your problem? What will you do? What is your future vision? It's practically impossible. Many of the universities across the nation are having severe faculty crunches. Every faculty is having an overdosage of supervision students. So at this stage, what happens? The child, because the youth, when he starts right from childhood, he is having parents who are becoming busy. Now you have a nuclear family system, you have dual earners. Both of them are busy because you cannot have them in good schools, you cannot put them in good college, you can't give them food. An apple today costs, what is the rate? 60, 65, a kilo costs 150, everything. So in order to give the basic amenities to the youth or to the child at home, we have to definitely go out to one. So when everyone goes there, the system, no one is there to give a helping hand to the youth there. So it begins from childhood. Then he comes to the institution, the teacher is busy. Then he goes back to the community, only who's rest his peers. And his peers are as inexperienced as he himself. What guidance do you expect from him?
So youth doesn't have anyone to speak.
Right, absolutely right. In fact, if one or two get, someone to whom they can open up, seek suggestions, seek clarifications, speak for themselves, discuss issues, discuss the career. Now, I only know that my son or my daughter has to go to the so-and-so brand college, brand university, brand so-and-so. But have I at least made him sit and listen to what is that he is interested in, what he or she is interested in, what are his limitations, what do I do, who has the time? Now, this is the fallout of the long system. It's not just happening today or yesterday. If you see many governments, what happens is there is a social security measure and also there is subsidies. Now, today, if I have to put, my children in a good school, the minimum fees I would say is 1 lakh. Take in our own vicinity. An LKG seat costs around 75,000 to 1 lakh. So where is my concentration on the child as an individual, or do I concentrate as a child in a market where he is starting his education?
Or you can consider your child as a commodity also.
Commodity. So everyone has finally, narrowed it down to there. So I want to put him to the best school. What do? I don't enhance his skills. I try the other way around. Next to the college, next to the university.
Sunaina, do you think like job anxiety, higher expectation and more pressures are like difficult to deal with?
Obviously, it is always difficult to deal with these things. But I think if, yes, given proper counseling, if one knows where, like, okay, everybody has a certain aim in life. Everybody has the pressure, okay, now like I'm going to finish my PG course, or like I'm at this level, I need a job next. So if we know what are our aims and we know how to go about it, then yes, we can certainly deal with it. But yes, as ma'am said, we don't have enough time where to share, whom do we discuss with. So all of these leads to confusion. And then, I think even my friends today are like so much into anxiety that we all need this, stress management thing. Everybody needs to undergo stress management. And I think at this age of like 20, 21, stress management is too much even if we think about. So it's not a very good factor for any student. In fact, for no human. So if we have someone with, where we can go and get counseling, share our thoughts, get their thoughts, then maybe life can be a little easier.
Deepak, do you think like that our universities in our countries have completely failed in providing 360-degree support to the student in every sphere?
Yeah, well, I agree with this. The university does not take care all the aspects of the personality of a student. It gives emphasis on the academic development only, and mostly. But education means all-round development of personality. Each and every aspect of the personality, it's physical, mental, intellectual, spiritual, emotional, social, all aspects of the personality must be equally taken care of. That our university is lacking.
Yeah, I'm talking about the every university in our country. It's not particularly about...
Yeah, most of the university. I can say mostly all the university. And secondly, I want to make a point that the major problem is in the attitude and the mindset of the people or the youth community. You see, the youth community, mostly they are becoming materialistic in nature, money-minded and morally degraded even. They are measuring everything in terms of the money. You see, we all are getting involved in the rat race, cutthroat competition we are there. So there is a need of independent thinking. Why all are going and running behind the brand? So there is a need of independent thinking and brand. You see, we are living in the technological world where the same thing can be accessed from throughout the globe. So I strongly feel that needs must be properly managed. The desires must be properly managed. Need must be need. It should not be converted into greed.
Dr. Sultana, like Mahatma Gandhi has said that earth provides enough to satisfy a man's need, but not enough to satisfy the man's greed. What he said, like materialistic life and too much desire and all these things, as leading to a very deterioration of our social life. There's a British journal Lancet which came out with a report that the suicide rates in our country is highest in between 15 to 29 age bracket, and it's peaking in southern region that are considered richer and more developed with better education, social welfare and healthcare. What's your point?
See, here I would just like to recall, I'm still young, there's no doubt, but still, when I completed Masters in Social Work, I think I completed in 97. I had no idea what I'm going to do because I came from a very conservative, traditional family where just doing a degree was just a matter of pride. Okay, I completed my degree, that's it. And then afterwards, might be I would have got married, might be I can go for a higher education, might be I can sit at home. I had that liberty. But I just happened to discuss with my colleague a few days, a professional colleague of mine. He said, Madam, I completed my Masters of Social Work. He completed much later than because he's still young. So he completed around 2005, and 2007 he's got a job. He's got a government position, and he says, ma'am, I felt I'm a complete man only after I got this job. I did not understand even now. Might be 10 years before I wouldn't have understood the meaning also. He said in my community or rather as a youth, as a man, when compared to a female youth, a man gets respect only when he completes his education, when he gets a good job, and then he is able to keep up to the pressures of the community. Now, 100% sure was I did not have these pressures 10 years back. Might be because I did not have the need to earn and give it to the family. Or might be, that time the pressure was not as much as it is today. And from his meaning, I understood that 15 years down the life might be, if I have a child, preferably a son, the same attitude might be in his mind also. Look at the pressures which has changed, in a matter of 8 to 10 years. So he feels that his community or rather this entire society will consider him a complete man only if he gets a job, that too of a standard and also of a a considerable salary. And he's considered, okay, now we've educated him, he got a job, he'll take care of us. So there's a whole change, as far as the attitude of the society towards today youth is there. Now, if he says at the age of 35 years, look here, I cannot contribute to the family, I want to go for higher education, he's seen as a bizarre man. Now, why this? So everyone, as you said, goes after money, goes after, responsibilities, goes after priority. Now, coming back again to Sunaina's point and as also what Dr. Mishra and the other person said, today's youth do not know how to prioritize his life. Why? Because the tutoring is not done in the education system. Education system in every individual's life places a huge role. I was never taught as a woman student when or what is the right age to get married. Halaki, I would have definitely, preferred to have this information in a system. Second, what is the right spacing between two children? Fine. Now, what is the right age? When should I get into a job? Okay, if I do not get into a job, what are the other options? Nothing is taught. You tell it is a professional course, you say it is a nutrition course, you see it as a department of education. You only speak about the content and not about the other parameters. Why I especially speak about this, I teach social work with families and children. Right? I'm a career woman now. I'm a mother of 2 children now. Now, there are different stages of life. 10 years back, as I said, even earning for the family was not a mandatory thing for me. After that, I got married. Things changed now. Now, today, 5 years back when I joined Delhi school in 2005 to 2009, you see, I could have worked 24/7. I was working. For me, nothing was, anything was material to me. Only my career, my life and everything. I did not have children that time. I could work. After 4 years, when you naturally get into that phase of motherhood and family, all your ambitions go below the carpet now. It goes down. Now, it will become very difficult for you to prioritize if you do not have the right kind of attitude and aptitude. That is the time when counselor pops, either in the form of a supervisor, either in the form of a society neighbor or your mother-in-law or your mother or something. Priorities should change. As the age passes, your priorities keep changing. Now, I'm very happy as a mother. My first choice is my family on par with career. But given a choice between family and career, family is always there. Might be after 10 years back, again I have a circle. I go back to the career when my children are grown. So, these priorities, now all these confusions that I had throughout the stage of youth, when I go to the class now, I am very clear. Now, your focus, your priority is your academics. 70% is the minimum what we are asking. After that is your job. After that is your family. Wherever I get a live interaction, I use my life experiences to not to train or tutor them, only to get them sensitized so that they make the right choices.
Sunaina, youth lack right aptitude and right priorities, and they consider like social networking sites are the place where they actually talk about their emotions, not to the families. There is a greater disconnection between family and the youth. So what's your point?
I won't say that social networking sites are something that is creating a difference. I believe that somewhere social networking sites have enabled many people to share something that they cannot share in their family, which is also not bad. If it would be that bad, then maybe they would be more under pressure. Something that they cannot share would be within them and creating depression. So if they cannot share it with their family, maybe they're sharing with someone they think is more liable, more trustworthy in this social networking site or the virtual world. But again, what happens is, if like in our family today, like I have seen, a life in metros and life in small cities are very different. Life in metros are more busy life. So what happens if both parents are going out and your sibling is just maybe just 1 year elder to you or 1 year younger to you, and you don't have anyone to share with? What do you do? Where do you go? If your teacher is having like 60 students to deal with and not even one having the time to give you an hour, where do you go? So if priorities is the main thing that youth needs to understand, who is there to make them understand what is their priority?
In today's world, like success and happiness are distorted, and people are like, they don't know what to do.
But maybe the youth is just understanding this materialism world and money mindedness because this is all what they have been seeing in their own families. They see both their parents. I mean, if I can recall, it was like 10 years or 12 years back, it was not necessary for both the parents to earn, to make a living. But in today's day, if a couple is getting married, the first question asked to the girl coming home is, would you like to earn and make a living with your husband so that you can give a better life to your children? If the lady gets into motherhood, the phase of motherhood, so as ma'am said, I readily agree. Yeah, it is very important to understand that what comes first and what comes second. But after that, if the child needs a mother to discuss, and if she's not present, then what happens? It is where the child is learning that, okay, my parents are into earning. Why? Because we cannot live a life with just maybe 1,000 rupees of earning. So then the youth gets the materialism in their mind, and again, peer pressure. Now my friend is having this, why not me? If my parents cannot afford, what happens is the child gets, a little bit annoyed that, okay, my parents are unable to give me this. And this thing strikes again and makes the child more defensive or offended, saying that, I want to get it, so I have to earn much more than what my parents are doing. I don't want to, be looked upon in the society. So all of this mindset is not something that the youth is bringing up by themselves. It is what even the society is making them believe. You need to earn more because you need to be accepted in society. So I think it's something that is projected to them through the society, whether it's parents, whether it's their friends, or whether it's a professional, the personal life, even if it's a social networking site.
To Mishra, we have more higher paying jobs, but it's less secure things around us. So is it like something affecting the trending?
Yeah, definitely. We have high paying jobs these days, but they are highly insecure. And the higher in the job hierarchy you reach, the job is very less stable. So that affects definitely the youth. But we have to understand, I would further go back to what Sunaina and Dr. Shahin said. Everyone is born with certain level of stress. So the individual has to realize, the individual has to understand that this much of stress I can live up to. In fact, if he is not given any stress also, he would be a mad person. He would go unstable. So we have to understand what level of stress we can adjust, we can accommodate in our life. So maybe conditions from outside are not under our control. But yes, definitely from inside we can give it a try and understand if the level of stress is going beyond my capacity to accommodate, I'll just leave it. I cannot go what society expects from me. I have to go I have to understand what is my limitations, what is my ability, and based on that we have to prioritize our work. Definitely there are different aspects of one's life. Family is one, career is one, finance and related affairs is one. Society other than your family is also does also play a vital role in one's life. So we have to prioritize our time to all these aspects of our lives. And one person is successful when he attends to all these aspects of life judiciously. But then he has to make a priority of himself, and he has to find a way in which position he is most satisfied. So with that I would go, conditions from outside may come, and it all depends on the economy of the country, the job market, the demands there, the kind of supply available in the market. So with all these things, such things are not under control of an individual. What he has to do is, he has to find from within, prioritize his work, give sufficient time to the family, and from to all those aspects of life where he gets satisfaction, and then cope up with the stress that is given to him by the society.
Dr. Sultana, in 2010, in India we had 1,87,000 suicidal tendencies, and it is 3% of the deaths that year. Not to forget that Pondicherry leads the way. It has the highest rates of self-reported suicidal behaviors. Being from the social work department, do you have any priorities regarding this?
Before I answer to this question, I just want to, put my agreement along with Dr. Mishra, where he says, if you don't give even a little bit of stress, what will happen? If you just read in the newspapers today, everyone says everyone is undergoing stress. Youth is undergoing stress. Children are undergoing stress. The same curriculum, the same syllabus has been existing earlier. He's learning 1 to 100. He's learning A, B to Z. He's not learning any French or Spanish or German. Okay, so it is the kind of, the glamour we associate with the word stress. It's just a misconception. Every child has to learn 1 to 100, otherwise he cannot survive in the world. That's for sure. We have to accept that. So to get that 1 to 100, little bit of a strictness in the classroom, little bit of a curriculum in the classroom, or timetable is required. So if you call that stress, parents are undergoing stress, children are undergoing stress, youth is undergoing stress, I do not agree with that. And little stress to chahiye hi chahiye. The second point, as far as you are saying, like the suicidal tendencies are high, especially Pondicherry is becoming the capital and all that. It is actually very, very, it's actually a very bad and a very shameful news. Like I'll just say, we teach in the Department of Social Work, some methods of social work, so that they go and enhance their practice in the field. Now, if a person has to go and speak to the client about nutrition, but he does not have a component of nutrition in the classroom. So, we as teachers, we identify where are the weaknesses in the curriculum and we give it otherwise. We call it supportive lecture, we call it field lecture, we call it orientation program, we call it lecture series, and we are giving. The system or the department or the teachers are trying their best, but still I wouldn't say that we will cover 100%. Now, what should the youth do? They should also seek for opportunities. Now, I have been a student of Bharatiya University, Madras University, Delhi University, Pondicherry University as a faculty and all that. Now, no university I've heard gives such amount of freedom, such amount of infrastructure to the students. Pondicherry University will really excel all other universities which I have seen, though I've lived in metro cities also, and I'm coming to a smaller town. Now, when a student enters Pondicherry University, the first thing he will come to know is, yahan to free Wi-Fi connectivity hai. Access. How many of them, you just go at 4 o'clock to the stadium? How many of them actually go for a stroll? How many of them actually go for some gymnastics? How many of them go for some athletics? How many of them go for sports? Film club mein you will have full crowd. But you just see how many of them cycle every day. How many of them actually do some exercise. How yoga classes are given at 50 rupees, which I have not heard anywhere. And I stay close to the performing arts, there. All type of classes are being given. How many of the youth take this information and go in a positive manner? They only hear Wi-Fi is there and sit on the Facebook or the internet. I do not say, I agree with Sunaina, that is required, social interaction is required, but how many of them know that the university has an athletics coach? There is a university athletics coach in the university who's giving you free guidance and counseling for you for medical fitness and physical fitness. So unless you take care, you respect your body, you respect your mind, you can never contribute to the society. This is what I have been doing even in the classes. First thing I would say to every student is respect yourself. Respecting means not taking care of yourself. Understand what your body requires. Understand what your mind requires. What amount of rest it requires. What amount of recreation it requires. You can't just use something which is given to you free just because you like it. You have to prioritize your needs, your requirements. Only then you can be a quality individual contributing to a quality society.
I would agree with you, madam, when you say that today's youth have really no time for their own physical culture. They don't go for athletics, they don't go for exercises, they don't go for a walk even. So maybe we have to think in this way, that whether this internet and such revolutions have brought down the physical culture, the awareness about the health and related fitness in our individual and in our youth life. We have to understand it.
Yeah, I would like to make a point regarding the social networking sites. You see, the social networking sites are still very limited to a very particular section of the society. You may say the microscopic minority of the society. Still, the real India is the rural India. Still, 70% of the population lives in rural India. So, still, we have to, these social networking sites has not reached to that lower strata of the society. So we cannot say that social networking sites is the only reality of the present India. So we think about their problems also. And secondly, regarding the stress, I have been the student of this university, Pondicherry University. You see, especially from the science department, classes starts from 8:30 and it goes to continuously to 5:30. And after that, he has to go. They have joined some evening courses that 5:30 to 7:30. So you see, it's continuously, and classes are taken very strictly. There is no teachers are ready to take the class. One teacher is taking the class and another teacher is waiting for the class to take another class. So in these circumstances, so many assignments are there, workloads are there, and in these kind of circumstances, if he does not feel stress, it's obvious he will feel stress. And secondly, you see, this is the world of cutthroat competition is taking place everywhere. Social pressure is there, environmental pressure is there, home pressure is there, then placement pressure is there. So in this kind of circumstances, definitely I will tell the students of present time, they are facing stress. Necessary steps must be taken to change in the curriculum. That leads to depression and frustration, and ultimately leads to the suicide also. And some people have the internal stress, that is called as some people, suppose he has always been first position he has got first position in the class, so same he want to maintain. If he is unable to maintain that, so he feels internal stress, that also causes suicidal problem or depression problem. So that is one of the major cause of suicide, that is internal stress. So there is a need of channelizing the youth energy in the right direction. That is very important, so that the energy of the youth should not be wasted in, it must be properly utilized in the national building process.
Deepak, I would correct you. Well, if a teacher waits for the next class, that doesn't lead to stress in students. In fact, it is a good system that a teacher is time bound, teacher is punctual, that he awaits for his class to happen and he goes with full energy to the class. Well, you may ask whether the teacher is lenient, democratic in his classroom and he gives opportunity to students to interact. If he doesn't, that may become a stressful one. But if he is waiting outside for his turn to go inside the class, this is a good system. And if any university is following this system, it is a good thing. I just told you to ensure that a wrong message should not pass through this podium, through this
or
platform.
Maybe the point what he wants to say, that there should be a minimum gap between
that I would like to make. There should be some time to relax, because the mind has also the perception. He cannot perceive everything very easily.
Well, an individual can take his own stand, own strategies to relax himself, to rejuvenate himself for the next hour. A class is, in my way, or probably how do I teach in the class, is not a strict where no one can open their mouth. It should not be in one direction where teacher only speaks and others listen. In this way, there could be more stress amongst the individuals or people who are listening to it. But yes, if it is utmost free, everyone has an opportunity to speak, such things would not lead to stressful lives.
I guess Dr. Sultana wants to make a point.
See, I endorse both the opinions. One, because he's a youth, he's undergoing a lot of stress. And Dr. Mishra, as a teacher, I respect, yes, every teacher who has a next class. Even I do the same thing. I go and stand in front of the class. But here we are missing one point. What Smarak said was, there should be a gap. There should be a gap, in fact. See, the class starts from 9:30 for the social sciences. For science, 8:30, the same thing. The class is from 9:30 to 10:20. I always, in the beginning of the year itself, I tell the student 9:30 to 10:20 is my time. I will be sharp at 9:30 and I will leave sharp at 10:20. Now, how you utilize the 10:20 to 10:30 is your time. But why don't you assert to all the teachers when the class is going on that your time is over? They will never do that. They just keep quiet. Even if I spill over, I never do that because I know that if I put them into stress, they will not listen the next hour. The class will be just spilling over for the next half an hour. They will be seated, aram se. Now, I do not say all the students, but I time and again say, I will come back at 10:30 if it's my hour. But I will tell the teacher to go out at 10:30 because 10:30 is my class. But 10:20 to 10:30 is your time. Why didn't you assert? That's your mistake. So the students, unlike in the Western countries, have to learn, that's what I was saying. The system is wrong right from the beginning. Child and the youth later on does not have a right to express his or her opinions. Now, a student from foreign country, if you just go across in the morning, 7 o'clock, 6:30 you go. Because I was living near the foreigners hostel, I know. 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, they won't mind whether it is Pondicherry, whether it's Chennai, whether it is Bangalore. They will wear their shoes, they will go, they will wear their tracksuits, they'll wear their shorts, whatever it is, they are on the roads. But does a student of our place do? We will think about all the level limitations and we will stop ourselves. So why don't we are trying to take all the Western ideas, global ideas, everything we are bringing into our culture. Asserting is just a simple thing. They can assert. So after the curriculum itself, the timetable itself is inbuilt in such a way that you'll have a 10 minutes gap. So it's your right to assert and take a break.
Sunaina, suicide and youth, it has become a greater public health concern. What I want to say is, last 3 years, Pondicherry University has witnessed more than 5 suicide cases. What do you think about it?
You see, we cannot blame the institution or university for this. It comes from within. It is all the attitude of a person. I'll tell you, it's not, if you're talking about suicidal rates, then firstly we relate to the person who made the attempt to suicide. And for this, blaming the university, I think it's not a right choice, because after that you'll tell that, okay, it's the parents' fault. I mean, that is then very stupid on my part to say that, yes, it is the university or the parents' fault. It is the individual's fault, I believe, personally. And secondly, yes, I would like to add to this is because stress, I think it's something that how we take it. As Sir said, no, somebody cannot live without stress also. कुछ नहीं है तो भी मुश्किल है, कुछ है तो भी मुश्किल है. So it is how you deal with your
बहुत
life.
ज़्यादा है तब भी मुश्किल है.
Exactly. So it is how you deal with your things. As they said, as Deepak said that, this entire thing of 9:30 to 5:30. If we are coming in a postgraduate course, we know what course to choose. अगर तुम 5:30 के बाद also you're taking up an evening course, then you know what you're choosing. And that is, nobody is forcing on you. That is the choice you have made. So instead of going there as a student and taking that, oh my god, this 2 hours the teacher is going to, no offense to any of the teachers here, but yes, it's going to be a boring lecture. You should start enjoying the lectures because it is a choice you have made. Who's forced you to sit in that 2 hours class? Why are you stressed when you enjoy the course? For instance, right now I'm doing an event management course. I have joined it because I want to learn something out of it. So there's no hard and fast rule that I have to sit for 2 hours and make a fuss that, oh my god, the teacher is so strict or this. No, maybe I can learn something out of it and I can also enjoy the class.
So choices are made at personal level. Coming back to the employability question, is there any public-private partnership for employability opportunities in India?
Yes, definitely. You'll be knowing Pondicherry University has signed an MOU with TCS, and every year thousands of students sit for campus placements and thousands are selected as well by the company. So these days corporate houses are definitely interested in coming to the campus and selecting students and their prospective employees from within the campus, because this supposed to be less cost effective and focused, and people who have the right education, right skill, they get the job directly. If such companies otherwise would have gone to the market in an open way of conducting an entrance test, conducting their group discussion, viva, then probably through the interview to select students and employees, that would have been a very costly, lengthy and sometimes inappropriate way. So private corporates are definitely taking interest to come to the campus and select students. I, being in tourism department, we find So many companies, so many tourism related companies are coming to the campus and showing interest in selecting students. And since last so many years, we are attending 100% placement in the department. So that shows that corporate houses are interested. Not only tourism, I am aware that many other management departments are also getting campus placements. Companies are interested because this is a cost-effective measure of getting employees quickly, time-bound, in easy way.
Dr. Sultana, 3 months back, I met Barbara Bush, daughter of George Bush, and Laurette Kukuza in a conference in Malaysia. Laurette Kukuza is the president of Population Service International, is the co-founded by Barbara Bush. When I asked them whom do you actually have for your jobs, because you operate in South Africa, you operate in Middle East, in Latin America and Europe, and regarding this maternal health and reproductive rights and all, they say we actually do not find skilled person in even our own country. We look for third world where opportunity lies. My question is, if third world has lots of opportunities, why there is such a cry when wall figure says something else?
See, as far as they looking for, has placements in the third world countries or whatever is, again I go back to the earlier point which I've made mention. See, I am in a Masters of Social Work curriculum. Probably just take for granted I'm a student in the MSW course. With me, there are another 45 students. Okay, we learn the same course. Now, if I want to be same among all the 45, then I'll be, when I go for recruitment, I'm just as the other person. Now, I have to make myself unique. Now, in order to make myself unique and again saleable in the job market, I have to enhance certain skills. Now, who will know what weaknesses you have? Only the student himself, the youth himself will understand. Now, if you take, for example, me as a teacher, I have to understand that in my subject might be I am good, but might be I am lacking in my communication skill. Might be I am not good in make the session interactive. Might be I am not good with the statistics. Now I have to identify my weaknesses and develop so that in my department, among the 7 or among the 10, I am much better than the other. Now that is not, negative competition. That is positive competition. The whole concept of, this whatever awards you give for the best teacher or for the best entrepreneur or for the best youth, whatever, is not to create a negative mindset among the population, but a competitive spirit. As rightly said, some amount of stress is required. So if you don't, vie among the others and keep progressing, you are actually denying your own, your own skills. So I feel everywhere they keep the first rank, they keep the second rank, for you to understand where I need to develop. So sometimes, competition should not be taken as negative. Rather, it should be taken as a mode for you to, equip your skills and keep moving. This time I do not have this. This is what I do as a teacher. Now, I don't know whether student evaluation was introduced this year, but in Delhi University, I've been working from 2005. There is no concept like student evaluation. But I have every student's evaluation right from my first lecture class. Because I feel today, after so many years, if I have made up, what are the mistakes I've done, it is only through a transparent, open feedback from the students. If they are ready. They know at the end of the semester I'll be coming with a slip in my hand to ask what is that I have to enrich myself in the coming semester. And I have a record of all these feedbacks till today. And that is again, the same thing which gives me happiness, the same thing which also teaches where are my faults, where I need to rectify. So youth also, like in today's world where they have more number of opportunities, they have more accessibility, they need to equip themselves. They should not be one among the masses. They rather should become one from the mass, a representation, and it should be positive. So the employment, the problems are when 40 students go together, the best person gets selected. Who's the best? Might be he's able to convey properly, he's able to write, as Sunaina says, he's not bothered what is your percentage. He's just going to see are you able to write? Are you able to give it in a precise manner in the way I want? You might be a topper, you might be a graduate topper, but you are not able to communicate, then you are not in my list. So the problem is a youth has to keep on, revisiting himself on what his strengths are, what his weaknesses are, and then to develop on it.
Dr. Mishra, National Association for Software and Services Companies made a statement that 25% of graduates that pass every year are employable. In the pipeline of senior management, South Asia is shrinking by 17% in Asia and all this thing. And many people say that it's a difficult employment environment in India, especially for students looking to enter job when the economy is badly slowing down and completely battered. So why difficult is this environment?
Well, these statistics has, though are educated, are not employable. We have to accept this. This has not only given by one organization, but so many recruiters also are of this point of view. We have to accept it, and the problem lies deeply with probably the education system of our country, which right from the beginning of one's education, from the primary level, we are more particular about the paper degree, giving them the promotions to the next class and so on. We in India at the national level also, we are looking for the numbers, not the quality. So yes, the education system needs a drastic change, drastic overhauling to address this issue. I think we all have to look for opportunities and look for such things to come in our life, and we'll experience it.
Sunaina, many young people are delaying their entry into the workforce, partly because they are extending their year of education. What's happening is like Reserve Bank of India data shows that outstanding educational loans, it has been doubled since last 4 years, and the educational loans has not been returned, which is again, slumbering the process. Do you think like extending your education will give you a better opportunity even if you make an late entry to the industry?
See, knowledge, how much you get is less. No matter, like, there's no age or concern that, okay, this is the age where my knowledge ends and, you don't need to study. I believe that even if you go down with whatever internet is doing, today we say that, oh my god, Google is then, as we say, Google bhai hai. Just search it, sab mil jayega. But no, an institute, a classroom, a teacher can give you something that Google or any other internet, any other site will never give you. Because the knowledge that they have is something Google can never own also. And if we say that yes, education, the age is increasing, you're studying so much, is also because of competition. As ma'am said, I rightly agree to her that competition, yes. Negative competition is bad. What I would term is that healthy competition is nowhere bad. You should always have this mindset of having a healthy competition. Who doesn't want to be the best? Everybody wants to be. It's not only about the professional field, even in the personal life. Your sibling is there, you're looking good or not, that is also a question that you have in mind. So why not? Who doesn't want to be the best? Yeah, of course, even I want to be the best, even you want to be the best. But again, coming down to education, today when you are going to industries and all, the more certificates you have, the more income you have. It has like become a necessity. Otherwise, if you have all the time on your earth, I think it's always better to have the more courses, the more knowledge. And I think it has no bad effects. So something that is doing good to you is always that you can take up to. Yeah.
Okay. Before winding up this discussion, I would like individual comment on this regard. India is moving towards a knowledge-based economy. Only a knowledgeable, tech-savvy workforce can make this possible. Only development of core capabilities and basic technical skills will create such a workforce. You can start one by one.
Yes, the present present generation is definitely a knowledge generation. Anyone who's knowledgeable, who's more knowledgeable than others, is better employable, is a better personality, and is sought after in our society. So yes, this 21st century is a knowledge-based society, knowledge-based economy as well, and we have no other opinion, no second opinion on that.
21st century is the knowledge society, and whenever we talk about knowledge, India always leads. India has given the knowledge to the entire world. So, and also the power shift is taking place. The power is shifting from Europe to Asia. And in this situation, definitely in the knowledge society, in the learning society, India will lead and our youths will excel. And as you know that learning is a continuous and lifelong process. It starts from birth, ends to death. it's continuous process. So I strongly feel in this knowledge society, our youth will excel.
I don't know how far I'll do justice to, whatever suggestion you sought. But one thing I'm very proud of our country is that the rate at which our youth are developing is certainly positive. Okay, I feel the statistics as far as education is concerned is really good, though it can be much better. The statistics regarding to the other social indicators, fine. But what my concern, rather my request even to the government and to all the community and to my ourselves, the whole community here, is that beyond the success of the community, there's something, there is an inner being within yourself. We need to be mentally and physically sound. Only then we can make positive development for the community and for the nation. So while we are targeting that all this, the upgradation of the skills, the upgradation of the infrastructure, whatever you call it for the youth, let us not ignore the basic, the inner strength of every individual. Like for example, if a man is married, he has to be away from his wife just because there is no daycare center at his workplace, and then he is expected to contribute to the company. It is sheer injustice. We need to create spaces where, living with a family system, whether it is after marriage or before marriage, needs to be respected wherever you're talking about the workforce. I feel an individual, whether it from both genders, can be happy, can contribute happily to the development of the community and the nation only if he is internally happy, no matter he has an MS degree in electronic science, or he is having a master's in social work, or he is having PhD in any subject. He will definitely go for suicide. He can commit suicide. He can commit number of times, any number of times if he is not internally happy. So being knowledgeable is important, but not by rejecting the inner self. And let's develop a community where voices of the youth are heard, both his personal problems as well as his workplace problems. And I wish the youth of a community a very very prosperous futures down the years. And I hope as a youth I myself will contribute to whatever I am talking about in this discussion.
As a youth, I believe that there are many role models in my own country. So yeah, India is great, it has been great. And as far as knowledge is concerned, be satisfied with whatever you have today, because there's a lot that you can achieve, but don't run after something that you don't have. Don't overthink over anything. You can be satisfied with, if you have 5 rupees or 1,000 rupees, you'll get what you deserve. There's nothing like you can run behind and you will get it. So do not just run behind things and materialism and money-mindedness. And also, if you want to work, first work for yourself, then work for your country and your society. So that if you make a better place to live in, then you're also, patient and satisfied with yourself.
Perhaps we all believe that youth and their needs cannot be ignored anymore. With the present world population consisting of young people within the age bracket of 15 to 29 years of age, there is a possible need to look beyond the traditional ways of handling youth issues and bring more rational, achievable solutions. Perhaps this is the high time we start analyzing where things are going wrong and fix it. Maybe we may incorporate SWOT analysis of things, how it goes, or like smart choices we make. We may need to look at the primary education and revamp it and sustain the professionalism with participation from all the spheres. Thank you for being part of this panel.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.